Good evening. Tonight we will be discussing how you can select a magical name if you've chosen to take one at all. Remember, the choice to take a magical name or to not take a magical name is intensely personal. Whether you take a magical name or not is entirely up to you. No one gets to criticize that choice, and nobody gets to tell you that you should choose one or you should choose a specific magical name. It's entirely up to you. And what name you pick is entirely up to you. Other people's opinions don't matter. This is about you. So there are many different theories on how you might select a magical name. Some feel that a magical name should be chosen that reflects your higher self, the nature of your higher self, or the qualities that your higher self embodies. Others will insist that a magical name should be selected that describes the qualities you wish to develop. So not necessarily who you are, but who you want to be. Either method is appropriate. You can either use a magical name that describes who you are, or you can use a magical name that describes who you wish to be one day. It doesn't matter which approach you take. Both are appropriate. Select one. Do you want your magical name to represent you now, or the you hope you'll be in a few years? It doesn't matter. So most practitioners will use a combination of meditation, divination, and a great deal of research to choose a name. There are many possibilities when it comes to sources for magical names. My magical name is Aislin. It's actually my middle name. So I didn't have to search very far to find a magical name because it was right there. I never used my middle name for anything else, so hardly anyone even knew what my middle name was. So I just used that because it made sense to me, it represents my heritage, and it means something to me. So that's how I chose my magical name. If you're not going to choose a part of your existing name as your magical name, what else can you do? Well, you can look into many, many different sources. You might look at ancient mythology. In pagan circles, there are a lot of people who are Isis or Artemis. In a lot of circles, it's very common to take the names of gods, goddesses, or other figures in ancient mythology and use those as your magical name. That's completely fine. You might want to look into herbs and flowers. So one of the groups I work closely with, we have a willow and a jasmine. Those are their magical names. They're not their legal names. They're the magical names they use in circle, and both are based on flowers and plants. You might pick animals, so you might really resonate with a certain type of animal and want to name yourself after that. Maybe sounds. So we have a whisper. The reason I say sounds, I think about sounds, I think about whisper. We have someone who calls himself Whisper. And yes, he's very quiet. So it represents him well. You might think about elements of nature, so using some kind of elemental name. You might get the name out of a sci-fi or fantasy novel. That's valid too. Something that represents you, that resonates with you, could very well be a name you found in a book. You might take a word out of a foreign language. Make sure you know what it means. So don't just pick a word that sounds pretty. If you like the way a word sounds in a foreign language, make sure you understand what it means, because you don't want to be calling yourself something that does not represent you. Maybe an acronym. So I've known people who take their first, middle, and last names and look for an acronym, or maybe they take some of the letters out of those names and they kind of rearrange them a little bit. So you could do something like that. You could use your initials. That works as well if they make something that makes sense to you. You might take a look at your star chart and see if you can't find something that'll work. Magical symbols. So you might take a look at the various magical symbols that have been used throughout the centuries and pick something there. Other people and places. You might have a place that really resonates with you, so you might want to name yourself after that. We have somebody who's named Meadow. It's very common. Everyone in our circle has a magical name. It's not because we require that, it's because everyone's chosen that. It just makes life easier, and people like to be called what they want to be called. So in circle, we make sure to always refer to somebody as their magical name and not their legal name. The source of the magical name is not nearly as important as the feeling it generates. So you can get as complex or as simple as you like. You can combine words. So you might choose to have both a first and a last name that are really your magical name and combine that. That might be how you feel. You might choose just one word. So I am just Aislin in circle. I am just Aislin. Nobody calls me anything else. They don't tack on anything. But if you wanted to be, um, it doesn't matter. Maybe I wanted to be Aislin, I don't know. We have a winter wind in our group. So maybe I wanted to be Aislin Winterwind. I could do that. So that's fine too. You can make your name quite long or you can really shorten it. It depends on how you feel. What do you like? You have to like it more than anybody else. It's okay to ask for opinions. If you have someone you trust, someone you work with a lot, maybe ask how they feel. What do you think about this name, that name? I'd like to combine these two names. Do you have any idea how I can do that? It's okay to get a inspiration and ideas from other people, but ultimately the choice has to be yours. So make sure you are indeed making that choice. Magical names should be filled with power and magic. So don't be afraid to try different magical names until one truly fits. So it's okay to play around a little bit and change it up a few times. It is important to note, however, that it can take some time to really connect to a name. So it might take a year before the magical name you've chosen really settles on you. So don't toss aside names too hastily for fear of discarding one that truly might be perfect, especially when you're first starting out on your magical path. It's really easy to just kind of let something go when you might have wanted to keep it. So sit with each name for a little bit and maybe try them out one at a time and flip back and forth and see what one kind of sticks. Because if you just discard something before you've given it half a chance, you might find yourself regretting that a couple years down the line. So don't just discard things willy-nilly. Be patient, search for what you want, and make sure it resonates with you. The opinions of other people do not matter here. If you choose a magical name, it has to work for you, nobody else. So thank you for watching this week. Tune in next time when we start talking about the nature of magic and reality, which should be a lot of fun. Blessed be.